Justinian the First has been confirmed and is coming to Rise of Kingdoms. I know why you're here. You're looking for a breakdown. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today, we are going to be breaking down the new commander that was just announced this morning for Rise of Kingdoms, and his name is Justinian the First. We're going to be breaking down all the different talents, all the skills, and who I think is probably a good pair for this commander. So, if you're as excited as I am, drop a like and let's get into it. So, who is Justinian the First? Justinian the First is a Byzantine commander. I believe he was actually married to Theodora. Check me on that. But what's more important is that he is a cavalry conquering and support commander. And you might be wondering, Shappy, who else is cavalry conquering and support? And I did a little bit of homework for you guys in advance. I promise I didn't watch anyone else's video. I have notes here. It is Saladin. So let me hide this for you so you guys can take a look. Saladin is a cavalry conquering and support commander, which means that Justinian already has a great talent tree that you can probably use right off the bat. And so here you go. Here's the Saladin tree that I like to use. I don't go full in on either tree, and I do take advantage of the buckler shield. Granted, this one is specifically for the field, but if you want other trees, there you go. All rally. And so there's the talent trees. And obviously, when he actually comes out, we'll be doing testing. So this is going to matter just a little bit less for you guys, but just something to keep an eye on. Overall, this talent tree is really nice. I like the cavalry support and conquering tree. It makes sense for a rally commander to have the conquering tree, so I'm here for it. Now, I did take notes on all the skills, and we're going to jump through them, and I'm excited. Light of Rome has a rage requirement of 1,000, which is awesome. Justinian is most likely a rally commander because conquering, is kind of the norm. But what's huge here is his damage factor is 2,500. Just off the bat, how does that compare to some of the other commanders? Well, Ho is coming out, and he has a massive damage factor as well. I believe his is closer to 2,700. Don't quote me on that. Let me know in the comment section below. But if we take a look at some of the other commanders that are already out, that are the existing rally meta, let's take a look at how their skill damage compares, because if you're in here and you're looking at this video, you're probably already a rally commander. So 2,300 damage factor for Henry. Okay, that's not bad. Let's look at Tariq. And Tariq is 2,200. So right off the bat, Justinian is dealing a lot more damage than his counterparts, which are other rally commanders, which means, could he be being set up as the new rally meta? On first glance, it looks like he could be just based on the skill damage, but let's dive into some of these other skills. And there are a lot of new mechanics that we've never seen before in Rise of Kingdoms. So, if this commander is the leader of a rally attack, which means the skill only applies when he's leading a rally, the target's defense is reduced by 30%. If the target is surrounded, adds 3 surrounding troops when calculating effects that factor in the number of troops surrounding the target. This does not increase the number of troops actually surrounding the target. So what this means is, if there is a commander that, for example, benefits from being surrounded, let's say Harold as an example, he will not actually be getting the benefit of being surrounded if it's just Justinian attacking him. However, if you do have another commander, and I'm skipping ahead here, like Nevsky or William, who do have the surrounded buff behind Justinian, you do get the buff of the additional 3 surrounding troops. If the target is not surrounded, the number of surrounding troops will be set at 3 for effect calculations, but the target will not actually be surrounded. This is really, really important because this is a mechanic we haven't really seen before in Rise of Kingdoms. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be really great in terms of swarming garrisons down, which we're seeing more and more leaning towards in Crystal Tech, etc. But I think this is really good in terms of giving us an idea of who you might want to be pairing Justinian with. Before I get too far into it, you'll see later. So let's take a look at some of these other skills to see how viable Justinian's really going to be. We have cavalry units led by this commander get 30% increased defense. Really nice tanky buff. You like that on a rally commander. And while outside of Alliance territory, Their cavalry units deal 5% more damage across the board. So this is really important to call out. A lot of the time we see cavalry units deal 5% more damage to archers, or archers deal 5% more damage to infantry. Here it's 5% more damage in general, which is really nice, and it stacks well with some other commanders, which we'll be running through. And he gains an extra 15% march speed. That doesn't matter terribly much. You're rallying with this guy, but it's nice to have. Next, we have cavalry units led by this commander gain 20% increased health. When attacking cities or strongholds, their troop takes 10% less normal attack damage. So there are two skills here now, which are exclusive to rallying. We have the 10% less normal attack damage, and you have the when rallying. So already I'm thinking Justinian has to be a rally commander. If you're trying to use him and you're not launching rallies, I don't expect him to be all that great in the field. Also, his skills don't really lend themselves terribly much to the field. So this is something really to keep in mind if you're a field player. Justinian might not be for you. Next skill, we have Restless Emperor. Cavalry units led by this commander gain 10% increased attack while on the map, so that means in the field or when rallying. Whenever their troop launches a normal attack while on the map, has a 10% chance to deal additional direct damage to the target troop. Damage factor of 80 times number of troops surrounding the target, up to 5 troops. Here is where that first skill comes back into play. As it said before, if you're just attacking a single target, that counts as 3 troops surrounding. So you have that massive damage factor of 2,500, and then you're getting an extra 240 damage factor without really even swarming the target, which is absolutely insane to me. So all this really is just nice additional damage in addition to the buff that you're getting from attack. Now for your expertise, that skill is getting even better. So you now got 15% increased attack instead of 10%, which is really not all that big of a deal. But whenever their troop launches a normal attack on the map, it has a 30% chance now, instead of 10%, to deal additional direct damage to the target. And now it's 300 damage factor at least, which I think is really, really viable. Now, Justinian may be the new rally meta. There are a couple concerns that I have right off the bat, and that is swarm proof. Historically in Rise of Kingdoms, rallying commanders should be kind of swarm proof. If we take a look at Tariq Bakal, swarm proof. You can launch that rally, and if you get swarmed, you trade well. Attila, same deal. Nevsky Attila, same deal. Even Henry is mostly swarm proof. He's probably the most swarm proof archer rally that you can throw. Justinian, I am not seeing a lot of swarm proof skills right off the bat. We're seeing increased attack, we're seeing health, we're seeing taking 10% less normal attack damage, which is good, but we're not seeing a decrease in skill damage taken or anything like that. So whoever we pair him with needs to have some of these benefits. So who could we be pairing Justinian with? Well, based on his skills, automatically I want to look at someone who's getting benefits from the additional swarm. And there are 2 commanders right off the bat that have that. So if we come into the game, we can actually take a look at both William and Nevsky as an early evaluation of who we might pair with him. So I know everyone's saying Nevsky. Problem I see is if you're a rally commander and you want Huo and you have Nevsky, you're going to have to make decisions. So Nevsky deals direct damage to the target, 2,300, which is also very large, and inflicts a defense reduction buff that lasts 3 seconds. And the defense reduction equals number of enemies surrounding the target times 15. Maximum of 3 enemies, which means that all you have to do is put Nevsky behind Justinian and you have maxed out this debuff. So you've got at least 15%, and it's 15% times 3. So that's 45% debuff in addition to the already fairly large debuff that Justinian is bringing to the table of 30%. So you're really knocking down the defense of that target, which is also going to be important because defense is the attribute that makes it so you are more swarm proof. If you're knocking down the defense of that target, they're no longer so swarm proof. On to the next skill of Nevsky in order to understand if this is a good pairing. We have cavalry units led by this commander gain 20% increased attack, 20% increased march speed, and 20% increased health outside of alliance territory which, let's be honest, if you're rallying, you're probably going to be outside of alliance territory. So overall, pretty good. And then we have more defense, and you deal 10% increased damage to and take 5% reduced damage from surrounded targets. And this is why Nevsky is such a good pair, because you're dealing 10% increased damage in addition to the 5% that you get from Justinian. So 15% overall, that's normal attack, counterattack, and skill damage. And you're taking 5% reduced damage from the target that you're rallying, even if it's not necessarily surrounded in real life. Onto the fourth, we get when it consists of only cavalry, skill damage is increased by 25%, and it's 35% for 4 seconds upon casting an active skill, which is really, really nice for this commander because, as we already called out, Justinian is dealing more skill damage than any existing rallying pair today. So, on paper, Nevsky looks to be the best pick for this commander. Justinian Nevsky may be a super viable pairing, or you may want Nevsky Justinian. We'll be doing testing. If you want to see that, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right hand corner. And if you don't care, I'm sure you'll see the video anyways. Now, onto the other pairings, which I think may be viable, but are worth evaluating. William. William also has the benefit of the swarmed target buff. Not in his first skill, I don't believe. Oh yeah, damage dealt to each target is reduced, and you have an AoE, which is nice, because Nevsky does not have an AoE. And if we go over here, when his hidden bloodline hits a target, the commander's troops gain 14% increased defense, and if it hits 2 or more targets, all nearby troops get a buff. But it's this third skill that is most important. Cavalry units led by this commander gain 20% increased attack, and normal attacks have a 10% chance to inflict direct damage to the target. If the target is surrounded, here we go with Justinian's skill, it will take an extra damage factor of 80 times 3 in this particular use case, which again is the same skill that Justinian has. So that additional damage factor is going to be really nice. And if we have William expertise, that's actually going to be 100 again. And you also have the benefit of the additional damage of 1,000. So these are the two commanders I'm looking at right away thinking, okay, this might be a viable pair for Justinian. The last one, which we'll have to test with, is Attila. And the reason that I like Attila is for the same reason everyone was so excited about Nevsky Attila and it was such a viable pair. And the main downside of Attila is the fact that he has the skill damage reduction. He takes 15% less skill damage and deals 30% reduced skill damage, which, honestly, for Justinian is not that big of a deal because his active skill will still be 1750 even after that reduction. And that doesn't include all of the other buffs that you might get through the talents. So, I'm wondering if Justinian Attila might be a secret combo that we see being used to get that swarm-proof rally. And if Nevsky Attila as a rally pair is out the window. Now, the main concern people might have is around equipment. We do have great equipment already for cavalry that give you a lot of health and defense, which means that you will be more swarm-proof right off the bat. If you're looking at who you might want to throw your different special equipment on, I'm looking at the Vengeance as well as the Ring for Justinian. I think that makes a lot of sense. You could also go with the Horn, but those are my recommendations. If you're as excited about this commander as I am, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be doing a testing, and drop a like if you've enjoyed the video. It helps me out a ton.